Welcome to
Stays Crunchy and Milk.
If you have questions or comments, we have multiple ways to be reached. Twitter is, of course, the best way for those who need instant gratification. The show's Twitter feed is @SkimPod. SKIMPOD.
Stays Crunchy.
If you want to hear yourself on the show, why not leave us a voicemail? 216-302-8763. That's 216-302-8POD.
Stays Crunchy.
For the more patient amongst you, the email address for the show is podcast@stayscrunchyandmilk.com. Crunchy again being spelled with a K. We're available via Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Spotify, and of course at the website stayscrunchyandmilk.com. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share the show wherever you can.
Stays Crunchy.
And if the pockets is feeling extra chunky, you can put in on this and support our Patreon. It's available at patreon.com/stayscrunchyandmilk. And if you donate at the $5 or higher level, you get an entire extra show each month with even more content coming soon.
Stays Crunchy.
Our personal Twitters are Tatum216, Lunchbox2099, The Real ODP, and I'm your host, the Internet's Tayrail713. I like how you kept quiet until we moved.
I was fully prepared to just start saying a bunch of random shit.
Oh, I trust as much.
It's not like they did anything to us. Like, the place is packed out. I get it. Yeah. But, like, I was just going to make it as, like, what the fuck are those guys doing as I possibly could?
Well, I didn't have anything particularly raunchy to share, but I never do, and it goes in that territory anyway, so...
You'd be like, oh, this story's not very raunchy. And then you're just like, so, I finger banged this lady inside of a gas station when I was 19. I had been drinking, and as I ejaculated, I busted out the window. Not with my fist, but with my semen.
Well, that's a nut.
Oh my God. You are a nut. That's exactly what that is.
Exactly what they would have to do.
Man, so I had Monday off the other day, and I would say that when it comes to like self-love, quote unquote, I've been kind of half-assing it for a long time. Like, kind of like the old like quick job, but I gave myself the full service the other day, like the long strokes, and I was like, man, I forgot how good this feels. It's like I was in a relationship with myself, and like I just told myself all the time that I have a headache, and just did a quick little like, okay, now get away from me. But then like on Monday, I lit the mood candles. I put on like some good music, and I was like, we about to love ourselves today.
Sounds romantic. Because I figured that would be all of yours, because unlike some people at this table, you don't have to worry about, what's that? Is someone going down the stairs?
Well,
because my wife's never going to hear this, so fuck it. I enjoy the couch a lot more than the bathroom.
That's where I did it. But I still have someone who lives in my house.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you know, he was at work. I was the only one off because I took a vacation day. So I had the entire house to do whatever I wanted and wherever I wanted. Whereas usually I'm stuck to my bedroom.
I just wait. Well, there's always the anxiety, like, well, I got noisy stairs, and they're upstairs, and they're tired. They're not going to come back down. Couch time. But, like, there's always the possibility that they're little children.
And
they're
kids
light.
are fucking stealthy.
I said somebody at this table, and now I'm not being unambiguous, so I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Kids can be stealthy. I've been startled many a times by my kids, not during that act, but just, like, in general. And I'm like, all right. They're also, like, young enough, like, can I explain away what Daddy's doing?
I was thinking myself an inspection, kiddo. Every now and then you gotta check yourself out. I recommend it for you and everybody else involved.
Dad, I gave myself an inspection the other day. I think I'm gonna do this on a daily basis. Son, we have to talk.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'd forgotten how good this can be. Because usually it's just like kind of a need thing where it's like every like 2 to 3 days, like you just gotta clean the pipes out so that like I don't go psychotic. And I don't know, there was just something this day where I was like, man.
I found I do that less lately. I'll still look at stuff but not do anything with it. But then one day I was like, oh, look who's back on the scene.
It's like you were killing something.
This is what happens when you watch like the cam girls, because the right cam girl be on and you be like, hadn't seen you in some time.
I think that's what it had started. It was an Instagram model. And I was like, hello, Miss Lady.
Can they see you back in these campgrounds?
No, God. I don't even, good God.
Some people love that.
That's probably somebody's deal, but no.
I've never actually been in like a live cam thing. I've seen like videos uploaded to porn sites of it, but I've never actually been in one where like you hear the all the tips and all that stuff. Never been in it.
What a delight. Anyway, I met this girl when I was 10 years old, and what I loved most, she had so much so. She was old school when I was just a shorty. Never knew throughout my life she would be there for me on the regular. Not a church girl, she was regular. Not about the money, those stubs was Mike checking her. But I respected her. She hit me in the heart. A few New York niggas had did in the park. But she was there for me, and I was there for her. Pull out a chair for her. Turn on the air for her and just cool out. Cool out and listen to her. Sitting on bone wishing that I could do it. I'll stop there. It just kind of works what we were discussing before, so. But anyway.
I don't know, you just said in those lines that the person was 10. Like, that's a little...
He said he was 10 sitting on bone. That's on him. If he had erections at 10 years old, who am I to talk about this man for the young common sense at the time? He said he had boners at 10 years old. I don't remember 10-year-old boners.
I think mine came around 11.
12? I seen the counter with a clear recollection, remember?
If I knew it was important at the time, I would have documented it.
I mean, who knew? It stays Crunchy and Milk. We back in this bitch again. A two for this week. I hadn't recorded 2 episodes in a week in some time.
But you only get it doled out weekly.
Yeah. You'll not get this for, I think, 2 weeks from now.
We're not a machine.
2 weeks from today, though. On the day we actually recorded. So this is the day shows come out. You shared the link, the YouTube link, on Twitter yesterday, and several views came off that because nobody watched the show on YouTube that quickly. No one ever does. But I wake up this morning, I'm like, multiple views on YouTube. I'm like, who watched this episode on YouTube? And I'd like to thank you for sharing that episode in that regard because somebody did. That's kind of dope.
No, you're welcome. It's the goal.
Yeah. Dude, I've been this 2020 vision has been to see if I can, even on days when I'm like, I don't feel like doing this shit. Because, like, sometimes I just don't want to tweet nothing. I know it seems dumb, but sometimes it's like, I can't think of something in my mind witty enough to bother with or share. And I don't feel like making up some stuff. So I've just been trying to do through other means to kind of push the fucking product. And that is, you know what I'm saying, I've been doing the Instagram show. I got the apps to make, little snippets of the show, clips of the show. I hadn't put a couple of clips up in a while, but I still do. And I've just been trying to maybe use our Instagram presence more and so forth. But it's just been trying to push the brand and make stuff and so forth. I ordered a new logo for a podcast this morning. I discussed with the person yesterday. I ordered it today. So that'll be coming here in a few days. So I think that's going to be fun. So a gentleman in Indonesia making it for me. I finally used Fiverr.
Nice.
It is not $5, but still. But
that's just the name of the site.
Yeah. So
it's just TaskRabbit with a different name.
Yeah. So TaskRabbit. I would never thought they gonna look at TaskRabbit. Kind of the same difference. I could be getting somebody to make stuff over there.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just hiring people for projects and shit.
Yeah. So this gentleman is in Indonesia and is working on the new podcast logo as I started to try to ramp that up back into production. And that was the step I decided to call step 1. All right, get a new logo.
All right.
Get a new logo that we own outright. Because the current logo for a podcast is something I found on the internet and added the podcast to. It's not really mine. And someday somebody could be like, hey, man. So now I'm buying one and it is mine. The ownership will be solid.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's the hype off of that one. If it looks like I hope it will, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So, but like I said, 2020, man. And like what it is, I've been talking to a bunch of people. I was talking to Nick Jew yesterday. She was saying how in 2020 she ain't taking no half steps with her notion of dating and so forth. You know what I'm saying? It's like she knows what she wants and she says she's gonna get it. And I'm like, that's dope. I was talking to Seth Mason this morning. He's like, I'm trying to run a 5K. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I feel like a lot of people have been taking a look at this year, and it's like it seems like a perfect year for either a reboot or just to push some things forward that you might not have. And so that's me. I've been trying to be in the gym and trying to eat better. We just had a snack exchange at work, and and I didn't eat myself sick. I could have plenty of stuff on the table, and I did not. I tried to keep it real, like, you know what I'm saying? I ate some cheese and some vegetables and a cupcake. One cupcake, though. One singular cupcake. And so I'm like, okay. I kept it reasonable. Cupcake is a lot of sugar, but I'll try my best not to have too much more of this is sugar, but it's only 100 calories.
Sugar in almost everything. So
I know,
hard.
but, true, but like I said, it's not, and I'm not trying to avoid sugar or to avoid carbs or anything like that. They're just trying to eat better and trying to exercise more. And I've been in the gym, and like I said, I went to the gym yesterday, and for the first time in a very long time, I was like, oh, hey, I don't feel like total shit after this. Because sometimes I walk out that place and I'm just like, fuck all of this. I'm not coming back. But I got there yesterday. One, I went longer than I have on the treadmill in some time. Because I was close to a number. I was like, let me hit this number. And I was like, ooh, close to the number right here. Let me hit that number. And close to the number up here. I'm like, all right, that's the last number. We're going to hit that number. And then we'll slow it down and we'll ease off this bitch. So I did just that. And then I ran around and did a bunch of other machines, like in real fast order. Like most of the time I kind of sit and just kind of groove. And I was like, nah, hit these motherfuckers. I was feeling it yesterday. So I'm like, good. Hopefully you will be feeling it. Everybody swears the gym, and eventually most people who exercise a lot, like, you'll get there one day where it's going to just feel great. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I didn't feel like a piece of shit.
The runner's high equivalent, like the exercise high. I don't know.
Nope, none of that. I just didn't walk out there like, well, fuck this. So that is all I'm saying. I'm not saying I felt great or I'm feeling this ready to go do more. No, I just didn't feel like I was about to pass out afterwards. So that was a pretty nice feeling. So I'm digging that 2020 is 2020 seems to be for a lot of people, me included. A year of some vision, a year of trying to punch up some shit pop, and I'm digging. I'm just down for that cause. A year of bourbon from a man over here. It's not gonna be just bourbon, but bourbon is his focus currently. So, I like you going with hot sauces and a lot of hot sauces. Now, I
was thinking about that on my way home yesterday. How when I really get into something, I put a lot of research and time into it, and I try and learn about it as much as I can.
Yeah.
And then it kind of becomes a part of who I am, but then I move my focus to the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like I don't eat hot sauces and stuff. Yeah. They're just in my fridge, and I don't talk about them as much. Yeah. And I'm learning about the whiskeys and the bourbons and stuff right now. And at some point, I feel like I'll reach a point where I have gained a lot of knowledge in that area, and it'll be my thing, and then I'll move on to the next thing. For a while there, it was different exercises and stuff, and that is one thing I do need to get back to, is doing that, exercising regularly. But I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that the alcohol, bourbon, spirit, learning stuff translates into good quality content for the other show that we were doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually in the mindset that I know it will, and so I think that that's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're talking about visiting a local distillery. You know what I'm saying? There's one in Lakewood in particular that I'm like, well, there's one right here we can kind of go fudge with.
We went on a tour
while we were
in Louisville.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Louisville at all because we got otherwise.
Well, do tell.
But we went on so I paid off my car last week. I paid it off 5 months early. And this one distillery, it was releasing a special limited finished whiskey that they do. The distillery is called Angel's Envy, and I had bought their limited. I thought it was limited, but they had a bunch of them at the distillery over there. But they had a rye release that came out. So basically, they take whiskey and they age it, and then they throw it in barrels that had other stuff in it. So the one I got last year, they had finished them in rum barrels, and then this year I guess they do a cellar release every year. So last year they had one like we just got the other day, where it was done in a Rosso some shit sherry barrels or something, and then this year they finished it in Tawny port barrels. So I guess which is wine, right? Yeah. So they finished this bourbon. Well, I guess it's whiskey now in rum in the wine barrels. And the problem was they don't sell it in Ohio, and it was a limited release, so you could pre-order it if you were a member of their mailing list, which I had joined. and the cost of the bottle is $250. And so like you could pre-order it, but like they don't ship it to you. 'Cause, like especially in Ohio, we can't have liquor shipped to us. Like other states, there are companies that like you can buy liquor from them on the line and then they'll mail it to you. Ohio doesn't allow us to get spirits mailed.
I'm sure there's some archaic reason that makes no sense to anybody.
Probably, but so if I wanted to get it, I was gonna have to drive to Louisville, and I knew that like this Saturday I was busy, and I don't know if I'm busy next weekend or not, but like it's winter, weather is always changing, so like I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it, and plus I wasn't sure I wanted to spend the money. But then I ended up paying off the car early with my tax return money, and I had been looking at that bottle, and I know me. Whenever I want something, I hem and haw about it because I consider all the possibilities with cost and what could potentially happen elsewhere, and like I run the risk of like in my head like the risk analysis of like, can I afford to do this if something bad does happen? And I had they told like T and I told my other buddy about it, and they both kind of like told me the same thing of I should just do it. And so like 2-3 days before it was supposed to be released, actually I decided 3 days before it was going to be released that I would go, because I looked at the weather and the weather was supposed to be pretty clear, and it was supposed to be in like the 40s down there. So I made the decision that I would go. The problem was I had to come back the same day because I had to go do a charity bowling tournament Sunday morning. So we left out pretty early Saturday. Now, I guess I should back up a little bit. I pre-ordered it at work on Friday, like so the day before. I pre-ordered it, I paid for it, everything. I go home, garage door doesn't work, so I have to get a new garage door opener.
It's the hot water tank, only it was the garage door. We were wrong. We were off by meters in this home.
Yeah. So I spent $265 after tax ordering this bottle. Go home, find out I'm going to need to buy a new garage door opener and have it installed.
Well, do you need to? Because mine has been broken for years.
That's the thing, like I don't need to. Like I can park outside of the garage, but like I have the garage. I want the door to work because I don't have like a side door on it or anything. So if I get in the garage now, I had to find the key to even pop the emergency lock, because like I didn't have anything labeled. Like the guy when I bought the house just left behind random shit. So like I've had to kind of figure out what things are and where they go. So there was 2 keys on like a lotto scratcher device that was just sitting in the kitchen when I bought the place. So I kept it in a drawer in case I ever needed it. And it turns out that those keys, what it is the garage door itself doesn't have like a handle like some garage doors do where you unlock it and turn the handle and it lifts up. This one, it's like a little unit that locks in place inside of the garage door, and when you unlock it, you can pull it out, and it's attached to a metal cable that's attached to the emergency cable that's on the garage door. So when you pull the cable, it pulls the emergency release. So that disengaged the door arm and allowed me to lift the garage door up and down. Problem is now, garage door is not locked. So if anyone listening to this knows where I live, they could go to my house, pull my garage door open, and just steal all my shit.
All right, well, don't do that, please.
By the time you get to it, it'll be repaired. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you can go to my house and break in and steal all my shit because I'm not going to fix it anytime soon.
You can give it a try. I would tell you not to.
Yeah.
I don't have anything good
So,
there.
I mean, like, it's not like I don't have the money to get it fixed. It was just I hemmed and hawed, and I was like, all right, I'll do this. And then I come home not even like 3 hours later, and now like I know a couple people who do garage doors, and one guy told me he could do the install with a brand new unit that has like Wi-Fi capability, and he could put a keypad in and all this shit for like $450. So I'm like, that's fine. Like, it could be a lot worse. So we go down, like I pick up T and my buddy on Saturday morning, and I drive us down to Louisville. Like, we stopped and got breakfast at like a Big Boys and stuff. Like, a lot of this stuff, if you follow us on the other show, like, it's going to be coming out. Like, T shot some video of like the car driving, and we did like a little mini rundown at the Big Boy. I feel like in retrospect we probably should have did a little more recording.
Well, so that's just the beginning. and like we're gonna sit and talk. So I figure we'll get all that on.
Well, like I mean, like I was thinking about it after the fact, and I felt like we probably should have like taken some video in front of like the other distilleries, and then like probably shot some video of us at the chicken place. And
all I have is one picture of that, and that's the close-up of the spicy chicken we ate.
yeah,
That's right. Sorry.
I did say do tell, but are you giving away free content right now?
No, it's okay.
No.
Yeah, literally none of this is available anywhere else.
Okay.
So yeah, like I drove us down to Louisville, and we passed like a vinyl coffee shop that he wanted to go
It
to.
was all lies.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. It was all lies. But the cookies were fantastic.
Hey, the pumpkin roll that it was like a pumpkin loaf.
Bread. Yeah, you probably love
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It was called Please and Thank You. Please and Thanks.
I don't remember.
Either way, we passed it. I was like, and it said music and coffee, and I was like, well, we got to stop back there. So after we went to Angel's Envy, hung out there for a bit and picked up my man's bottles. I was like, cool. I was like, are we cool to go head back to that check this music store out? And he's like, oh yeah. So we go back over there, and they have a wall of some records, and I'm like, is this all the records you have? Yeah, we're kind of backing off the music thing, and I'm just like,
Well, then take it off your damn sign.
not even that, there's two please and thank yous in walking distance from each other. It's like the Starbucks of fucking Louisville, I guess. So,
Also, I'm glad you clarified that they sell music because you said music and coffee. I'm like, that's literally every coffee shop.
I think they do some other stuff in there too, because they had some sort of training room of some kind
yeah.
off that was
Yeah,
locked.
they said there's like, be quiet, people could be in class. So I don't know what class they could be having, but class of some sort. But while we were there, I was like, let me look up an actual record store while we're here in town, because I always like to visit record stores when I'm in a foreign land and go see what I can find. And found one that was reviewed highly and near enough where we were. And we roll out, and just as we're headed to that record store, we see a game store, and they were like, "Oh, we'll stop back there on the way back." I was like, "Cool." So we go to this record store, Mark Anthony's in Louisville, Kentucky. Apparently, they just moved to that location, so I could not tell you the street it was on.
Mark Anthony, the J-Lo's ex-husband?
Just the name of the store, but sure,
well.
like Mark Anthony, J-Lo's ex-husband.
I thought you were saying Mark Anthony was in there. Like,
Real good, real nice shop. A solid selection of things. The reason there were like two record stores at the top of Google's list, and the reason I didn't say let's go for this one is because nothing about it said anything about hip hop. And I know that seems like whatever, but it's like I've been to many record shops. It's like I have no hip hop. How dare you? And I'm like, bruh, these DJs are a big deal, and they exist. Whereas Mark Anthony was listed as having a good hip hop selection, and truly they did. I went in there and balled out because I don't normally do that. But it was like 3 records. I was like, I've never seen this before, ever. I'm never going to see this again. It's not like I'm going to be kicking in Louisville on the regular, although we might be at this point because it seems to be like where the bourbon is at.
Yeah, the alcohol down there was way cheaper than it is back here.
Gas is way cheaper.
Like we went into their Meyer, and everything on the shelf except one thing was cheaper or not available in Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean, cheaper than it is in Ohio, or what's available there, not available in Ohio. And the one thing that wasn't was exactly the same price. It was Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Kentucky's famous for? Kentucky bourbon?
Indeed. So that becomes a thing. So Mark Anthony was great. I got some sweet records, including that Curious I sent you a picture of.
Yeah.
He can tell you. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, Gabe knew about my man Curious because we talked about Walk Like a Duck before and so forth. And that actually is the Walk Like a Duck 12-inch, which I didn't realize until I was filming the vinyl, my podcast vinyl edition, and was like, oh, this is a 12-inch of Walk Like a Duck. I'm like, I'm sorry, people. I'm thinking it was the Constipated Monkey, but it's not. It's literally just a 12-inch of Walk Like a Duck. And again, you understand that. Some of y'all understood that, but still. But
There's context clues also.
Box and his buddy were super cool about it and just fussing around in the record store with me because that's not really their jam.
Well, the thing about it is, like, it wasn't just my trip. Like, yes, we went down there because it was something I wanted, but, like, you know, I don't bogart the trip. When people go on a trip like that, I want everyone to have a good time.
Yeah.
So
Consider it a deal.
we bust Uwe and whip down to the game store. That game store, it's not just a game store. It's a comic shop. It was a game store. It was a little bit of everything going on in there. Tons and tons of games being played of Magic or tabletop with miniatures and so forth and so on. It was an amazing facility. I was thoroughly impressed. And I don't even play games like that. But him and his buddy, they used to play Magic. So they have some experience in that realm, and they were like, oh yeah, this is actually, a relatively quality experience in store.
The place was huge.
Yeah. It's like a.
It was funny though because the lady had a Cap'n Crunch Funko Pop in the case, and I was gonna ask her how much it was. Like,
No, you did ask her how much.
well,
it was.
I asked her how much it was because I was thinking about buying it. I don't know, I was gonna give it to one of you guys or whatever, and she goes, "Oh, it's our case for stuff's kind of messed up." I'm like, "Well, is it for sale or not?" She acted like she didn't want to sell it to me, and then she didn't.
And she walked away. And I was like, "Oh, so you just really not gonna sell this to this man?"
I don't know if she thought that like I was just joking or whatever, but I literally would have bought it.
Ah, they don't.
I went in
take
there.
us seriously.
I was struggling. Like I would have bought something just for patroning the place, but I was struggling to find anything that I wanted.
Yeah.
And like I was like, okay, well at least we came in here. I'll buy something. And then like yeah, she just like didn't do it and then walked away. I was like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here then.
That could have been a show mascot.
Well, yeah, it kind of is our, it's Captain Crunch is the man. Hey, Horatio Magellan Crunch is our buddy. It's our dude. But
So we ended up at that point.
it was time to eat.
Well, no, we had more time to because it was like at that point it was like about 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so I had joined this. So this is right now the only reason I'm still on Facebook. Is I joined this Bourbon group on there because I watched this one YouTube channel and they have a private Facebook group where it's just people who go on there and show bottles that they bought or talk about like what they think about certain things. Everyone in there seems pretty chill. Like I haven't seen any arguments or anything. Everyone's been kind of helpful and like there was someone in there last night asking for samples because like they're doing a fundraiser because someone's child has cancer and like everyone in there seems pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I stay on there for that, and when I posted pictures from when we went to the Angel's Envy distillery, I'm like, oh, look where I'm at, and like I was telling them how I was going there to buy the special release that just came out, and then one guy told me to go to the Old Forester distillery, which is actually like a mile down the street from the Angels. It's on the same road.
Yeah. Maine.
So after we left the comic book store and the vinyl store, I went to take us over there, and unbeknownst to me, the fucking Louisville Cardinals were getting ready to play a basketball game at the arena, like a block up from there. So traffic was like fucking insane. And I made the decision that I was like, all right, the next street I get to, I'm going to turn on and we'll figure it out from there. That way I can drive away from traffic. Well, turns out that street was a one-way street. Well, not one-way, but it led right onto the bridge that takes you over to Indiana.
Didn't even know Indiana was that close.
Yeah.
Didn't know we were going to end up in a different state. It was ended up being a 3-state trip.
So
Home of Mike
let me tell you
Pence.
something. I once went to Philadelphia and same thing. I cut across a bridge because it got traffic and I was like, that bridge looks cool. Let's go drive across this bridge and end up in New Jersey. Same difference. We just cut across the bridge thinking the shit's gonna be sweet, and we end up in a whole nother state. And guess what? The other side of the bridge from Philly and New Jersey, at least right there, is absolute trash. The other side of the bridge from Louisville to Indiana, it was horrific in ways that I'm like,
I felt unsafe.
straight up. So my man was like, I need to use the restroom and I need to get some gas. Cool. So I'm like, we see a gas station, we're like, look, there's at least a little bit of a beacon of hope. So he and I walk in the gas station and there's a restroom right here. So we cut toward the bathroom and like just you cut around the hall. So you cut around.
It was weird. There was like a Rastafarian guy just hanging
Just
out.
kind of standing there, right? But then also the smell just overwhelms you. And I was like, oh, well, this is about to be bad. We open the door and it's just blue lights. And I'm like, what is happening here? Where did we just walk into? And I want you to see this. This is what this bathroom looks like. This is me in this bathroom. And I wish you could. First of all, it's like dark as shit in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's already creepy as hell. We already, like I said, already feeling stuff because it's mad dark. It smells like a parade happened in that bathroom.
There was a guy in the stall taking a shit, and he just stunk up the whole bathroom.
I don't know what he was letting go, but like I said, imagine the intensity of a full parade of horses and everybody else all in one room. So I literally peed, washed my hands, got the fuck out of there. And then our other buddy was coming in, he just came from the car, I was like, bro, it's terrible, just get in and get out. And he's like, what? And I'm like, he gets to that corner and it just walks over, he's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, man, please. So we come up to the parking box, gets gas, we're about to go, and he sees just off to the side a liquor store. And that's essentially what we're down there for. Checking out liquor stores, checking to see if we can come across some things that will work for the other show and so forth. So we got over there. Bruh. We just in there, right? And then these people start kind of coming in after us. And I'm not trying to make fun of the locals or whatever like that, whatever, but it's just like this random assortment of strange and unusual people. And this one dude is just like telling a story to the one lady because apparently they know each other, and he's like, "Yeah, I got some kind of blood disease now because he bit me," and I'm like,
Yeah, so like I'm standing at the register because I had found there's this this bourbon called Buffalo Trace, which it's basic. It's like $25, but I haven't seen it up here in Ohio, and they had it on the shelf there, and I was like, oh cool, because I see it on all these YouTube videos, and everyone's like, oh, it's pretty good value for what it is, and I was like, oh cool, let me get this because I want to try it. So like I'm waiting in line. That's when this conversation's going down, and I'm like getting kind of weirded out. But he walks out the door. I walk up to the counter. And then, like, the dude ringing me out has a fucking gun on his hip, and I'm like, it's just staring at me, and I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, I'm very uncomfortable. I'm very, yes, sir, thank you, sir, the whole time, because I'm like, I don't want this dude to just shoot me.
we all just got close. We all just stood together like, let's just move as a unit so this man don't think we in for no good.
I'm a bit intrigued, though. Did you find more about this biting? Who did the biting, and what kind of blood disease?
Well, see, the thing is, we go outside.
I actually gave that man a wild berth once he said he had some kind of disease. I was just like, okay, let me just stay away from you.
So, like, we go out, after I pay, we go outside to get back in the car, and there's, like, a group of, like, 10 people just loitering outside the door of the business. Like, it was the dude from inside, the lady, and then there's a bunch of random-ass other people, and I'm just like, okay, everybody, let's get the fuck to the car. I'm thinking, like, I'm not even going to stop. I'm just hitting the gas, and then I'll figure out the GPS once we're away from here. Because I saw the dude with the gun come outside. Like, the guy who rang me out, he came outside as, like, before I pulled out of the parking spot. So, like, I didn't even bother to look where we were. I just drove down the street to a stop sign, and, like, T and my buddy are just like, why are you going this way? I'm like, because it's the opposite direction of where we were just at.
I felt like we were going deeper into Indiana, and I was really concerned. I'm like, why are you going further into Indiana? Let's get away from Indiana. Let me tell you something. So you always hear these stories, man. They always hear people talking shit about Kentucky. You always hear people talking shit about Ohio. No, it's that part of Indiana they mean. I know it. They meant to cross the border and not recognize or not realize you crossed the Ohio River and into Indiana. And it's that part of the world that's actually the shitty part.
It's like
shitty.
It's if Indiana has bigger problems than worrying about what kind of cake topper you put on the cake you're baking for somebody.
Red trend. Correct. So, you're wondering to yourself, T, what's with those blue lights? T was wondering the same thing. So I was like, let's find out why this bathroom has blue lights. It's meant as a deterrent to intravenous drug users, because that way they can't sit in that bathroom and they can't see their veins. And I'm just like, this is what you do to people. This is how you just dehumanize people. Fuck Mike Pence. Fuck his whoever followed him up, and fuck Indiana in general. All y'all. Piss off, Ghost. Jacked up. We got back.
I went back across the bridge. And so I ended up driving around for a minute trying to find somewhere to park because the basketball game was going on. So a lot of the parking lots near where we were originally intending to go were full. But I ended up finding a spot like 2 blocks down or so. It wasn't bad. It was like $8. And we walked down the street. A lot of
shit around there, though, too.
Yeah, it was like kind of like a gentrified up kind of neighborhood in a way where it's like one block shitty and then the next block it's like they're trying. And then you get a little closer to the arena, and they're like, "Okay, they finished this block."
That is a neighborhood in transition, and for some reason, everybody just let their dogs poop all around that parking lot we were at.
Yeah, it was weird.
Y'all didn't even bother. Y'all didn't try to pick this up.
So we walked down the street, and we're going to
shit.
We're going to the Old Forester Brewery, and right the next door to it, we found a Duluth Trading Company store. And I was like, oh, fuck it. You know, we got plenty of time, like, because the distillery we were going to was supposed to close at like 7.
Yeah.
And it was only like 4:45-ish or something like that. So I was like, we got plenty of time. So we go in the store and we like putz fuck around for a little bit, like looking at stuff, because I'd never been in a Duluth Trading before.
This proved to be very prescient in that you get out of there, walk, you know, is it a door down?
Yeah, it was literally next door.
Yeah. We go in there and just kind of poking around. I guess we were going to go check out their gift shop. The lady was like, got a tour starting, right about now. Perfect time. So
yeah, so like the first distillery where I bought the bottle, the reason we went down there, they do tours, but they were all booked up for the day. Like you could book them online, and I think people, like, because they were having the special release, were like, I'll go get the release and then also do the tour. But because I waited till the day before to buy it, the tours were already booked up, and it was $20. We go to the Old Forester Distillery to see that, because the people in the forum that I had posted we've gone to the other one were like, oh, you should go to this one, it's really cool too. And I was like, oh shit, okay, because I saw how close it was. I'll do that. We go there, and that's when he said, like, the lady's like, oh, we got a tour starting up in 3 minutes, and it's all $18. So, and she's like, it'll be about 45 minutes, and at the end, we let you sample 3 of the whiskeys. And I was like, $18, 45 minutes of entertainment, get to try a couple things that I've never had before. I'm like, this sounds like a great deal. So we ended up doing it, and it was probably like some of the best money I've ever spent. I learned so much in that 45 minutes, and then the tasting session, I learned a lot. Like, it was just, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, they showed us, they did like explain to us how whiskey's even made, like the ingredients they use, the process that goes into it. They showed us a storeroom, like warehouse, where they're storing barrels for future releases. They like walked us down the platform in the middle of the warehouse. We got to see all the barrels and how some of them are signed up because like some people claim them and like that ends up being their barrel and shit. And then, like, we're standing there, she's going over something, and I'm looking at one of the barrels, and it's leaking. So I just took my finger and I rubbed it across the leak, and I had like whiskey on my finger, and it smelled fucking incredible. It smelled like candy. Like, and I ended up licking it, and it was pretty fucking good.
Oh.
So we ended up going to another room where they showed us how they actually make the barrels, which was something I always wondered because I'm like, how the fuck do you put pieces of wood together and it doesn't fall apart and doesn't leak?
Yeah.
So like we got to watch them how they do the machines and bend the wood, and like then she showed us how they char it to get the wood crispy so the sugar's released and they get the flavors into the whiskey. And they showed us like the giant distillery that they have inside the place that goes up like 3 stories.
That's just as it's finishing.
So they like burn the inside of the.
Yeah, it has it has an exhaust that really sucks it out.
I think I actually got.
You got the full fire. Yeah. This amazing tour guide. She was so cool. Shouts out to Mackenzie. She just knew her shit. And it was dope in that. We were definitely we were paired with we were with this group of people that clearly were all riding together. And it clearly done multiple bourbon tours that day. And they was 3 sheets. And just like...
And like a couple of them kept fucking lagging behind and looking at shit. And we ended up having to wait for them to the point where like one of their people was just like, come the fuck on. Like in like that country twang or whatever. You pissing me off.
Yeah, so that was just wild. But
so... Yeah, we ended up, we went through the whole tour, we did the tasting, which was really, I learned so much that night, I'm not even kidding. Like, some of the things that she said, like, I've been watching these videos on YouTube, and they never mentioned any of that stuff that she said. And so I was very appreciative, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I ended up buying a rye out of their store downstairs. So then after that, like, based on the time it was, I kind of figured that it was going to be time for us to, like, eat and then hit the dusty trail, because I had to drive 5 hours back. So
the next day.
Yeah, so we walk back to the car, and I ended up looking up whenever like we're trying to find food and no one knows what they want, and we don't know what's around us. I would just go to Google and I type restaurants around me, and then I look at the list of what comes up, and they have one of those Nashville hot chicken places, like half a mile away. So I drove us over there, and we go in, and I'm noticing on the menu they have the scale where it's like the super hot is at the end there, where it's like it almost has like that caution type of. I'm like,
you sign a waiver kind of thing.
It's called Gonzo. It was their hottest. Was called Gonzo.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I got to do it, right? I'm like, I'm here, probably never gonna be here again. I'm like, I really want a chicken sandwich, but I'm like, I want to try that. So what I ended up doing was I ordered just like their normal chicken sandwich. It was like a classic. Spoiler, it tastes like a Burger King chicken sandwich. I couldn't tell the difference.
Oh, wow.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't sound like a compliment, though.
There's expectations. You know what I'm saying?
Like
it was a fine cut of meat.
It was better than a Burger King chicken sandwich, but like only because the meat itself was bigger and juicier, but the actual taste, practically the same thing.
Okay.
I got a milkshake with apple pie pieces blended into it.
How was that? Because you were drinking it with the Gonzo chicken.
It was good.
I don't know how.
I was surprised that the apple pieces all sunk to the bottom, so I had to kind of fish them out after I drank the milkshake. But otherwise, it was pretty good. And then I ended up ordering 2 of their chicken tenders with the gonzo sauce or whatever seasoning. I don't know what the hell they call it. But I got it on the chicken tenders. That way I could eat the chicken sandwich, have food in me, and then if I couldn't finish the tenders because they were too hot, at least I still had eaten dinner.
I didn't have no video, but I at least got a picture of the inside of it.
I took pictures of the food I ate.
Sandwich, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So,
to put the pickles on top?
it was nice. You just pull the bitches off, throw them in, you know? Yeah, that's the gonzo.
Yeah.
So how did the gonzo go?
So I took a knife and fork and I cut it up, and T ate a tiny piece, and then my buddy ate a tiny piece, and that was it. That was all they ate.
Probably, if maximum, that's the top. It could have been that big. It was so hot.
So
And like every time the rest of the night, every time I'd like cough a little bit, it would kick it back up again. Right. There's a lot going
havoc
on.
on my stomach, even if I can make it past my mouth.
Tummy was okay afterwards. I gotta tell you, but peeing afterwards,
Oh,
that's the thing for me.
don't wash your hands before you pee.
I do wash my
Here's
hands.
the thing: I don't touch the stuff with my bare hands.
Yeah.
It came with gloves, and I didn't touch the chicken at all. I used the knife and fork.
Same. I had
But when I
papers up,
piss,
and I
it
just put
still
up to my mouth.
burns.
Yeah.
It's almost like the for whatever reason in my body, the heat goes down there, and it's like it mixes with my urine.
Yep.
And I expel it out that way because it does it every single time.
I too suffer from pepper dick.
Yeah. So I broke them off each a little piece of the tender just so they could try it. And then, so at that point, I'm left with like 1
and a half,
1/8
like
tenths.
whatever, yeah.
It wasn't even half. You guys didn't even have a half.
For sure.
So I'm left with like 1 8/10 of a tender. I ate all of it. I cut it up and I put it into pieces, and I housed all of it.
Sweating like he stole something. It's pretty great.
I was sweating, but I was expecting it to be worse.
Yeah.
The thing about it was, I've eaten a lot of hot stuff. I knew what that was. It was Carolina Reapers. I know what they taste like. I like them.
Also, it wasn't just, oh, this tastes gross. No, it was flavorful. It was relatively nice. You know what I'm saying? I could see eating it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just, this is hot for hot reasons. It was like, oh, that's good. That's good food. So it's all right. I like it in that regard.
I was just worried that if it was going to end up being really bad, I had to drive the car, and it was a 5-hour drive back home, and we had decided to go to a grocery store because T wanted to go find some soda pop.
They only sell it in Kentucky. I looked it up. They actually they sell it in Kentucky, South Ohio, and South Indiana.
What is the special soda
It's
pop?
called L81, a late one. My man, guy, Don. He used to work at Don. You know Don. You knew Don.
Yeah.
Whenever he would visit his mother-in-law, who lived down in Kentucky, he would come back and bring me some. You know what I'm saying? He put me on to mine, and so when I saw they had a bottle of it at the chicken restaurant, it was like $3 a bottle. I was like, I'm not gonna buy that. And I'm just getting the water at the chicken restaurant. I refused to give them that much money for it. But I was like, yo, let's hit a grocery store before we go home so I can find some LA. And we did.
That was where I found that they sell the liquor way cheaper, because we go into the Meijer and they have a liquor store, but it's like up front, and it's attached to the grocery store, but you have to go in through a different door. Like it's its own separate like room in the.
These arcade
And like
rules.
we go in there, and it's like everything has like a sale sign on it. Like shit, I bought a $50 bottle at the distillery when I went and bought the special one because I couldn't find like their normal release here in Ohio, and so I paid $50 for it at the distillery. It was $47 at the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, I went to the actual place that made this, and it was more expensive than you're selling it for.
they everything they had was going in.
Like the Buffalo Trace bottle I bought at the Scary Indiana liquor store was $26. At the grocery store it was $20. I'm like, fuck! If only I had known.
I wonder how it
Could've
goes
gone back
down.
to that liquor store and returned it.
Do people from Indiana oftentimes just run over there to Louisville to go, you know what I'm saying, go get stuff?
I would.
Yeah, because the pricing is better.
Well, that was the thing. Like in the group yesterday, I was looking at some of the posts, and one of the guys was posting pictures of the sales down there in Louisville.
Yeah.
Because he was in town, and he's like, hey, if any of you are local and you're looking for this, here's what it's cost right now. Apparently, they just do that shit down there all the time, where they just put this stuff on sale. So that's why I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to wait until I run out and need to stock up, and then I'll take a day trip down to Louisville and just go load my car up and come back.
It's great. It really was a really bit of a fantastic little bit of an adventure.
I was so
Got on
happy.
like 2 o'clock, so that means you got on like 2:30.
I got to bed at 4.
What you doing?
Well, because I dropped you off, and then I went and dropped him off, and then I went home, and I had to poop and unload the car, and by the time I got into bed and went to sleep, it was 4 a.m.
Okay.
Now I got home and then Xander heard me, so he's like, I just went to go lay down because it was Saturday, so he was probably playing video games. So I was like, oh here, I bought you a present. So I gave him. They had this fancy, super fancy soy sauce. So my kid fucks with soy sauce, and he was super hyped about it. And I got Vanessa a pen and they gave us candy to sample with the bourbon and rye, right?
Yeah, it was 2 bourbons and a rye.
Yeah. And I just kept the piece of candy. I was like, I just take it. I'll give it to Vanessa. But then they sold the same candy, so I just bought her a whole bag of that. So
it was really good. It was like a caramel marshmallow that had like a bourbon, a sea salt, with like some bourbon in it. But you couldn't taste the bourbon really. Like it just gave it a good flavor.
That was some fun things to learn about. And I'm sure, of course, we'll talk about that on 3Bs, man. But just learn all this cool shit about how ethanol takes over the game. You have a dominant nostril, which makes perfect sense if you think about it. We have 2 of everything. We probably have a dominant one of everything. One of your nostrils does better than the other. You'll find it out, and you'll be like, I didn't know I'm left nostril.
I am also left nostril.
Are you right-handed?
Right-handed, left nostril.
Oh, so.
And I wonder if the opposite holds. So
I'll have to find a left-handed person, find out the dominant nostril.
Yeah, so.
Science.
But again, the tour guide was amazing. I was just like, yeah, this is great. The fact that she was so informed, and I realize that's what they're for, but like she's informed in a way that just like made you go like, hell yeah, thank you for sharing that bit with me. That's dope.
She was also really hot, so it added to it.
I tried to not talk about that. I tried to be cool and not just bring up how fine she was, but she's real fine. Real fine. It's really uncomfortable. She had a whole lot of ass. But also, just about every woman down there had a whole lot of ass. They all eating biscuits and shit. That's what's going on down south.
That Kentucky fat ass.
She
kept saying y'all, but in that like southern way where I was like, that's real nice.
Like maybe say that again. Just one more time. Come on. But yeah, it was sick, bro. Like, that all worked out swimmingly, and like I said, and of course it became content because I bought a ton of records. So I was like, when I filmed the most recent one I filmed of Apocalypse Vinyl Edition of, I was like, here, let me show you these records I bought in Kentucky.
That's why I want to know when the fuck we're going up to Michigan, because I want to like start figuring out like where we're going so I can figure out what's around it, so I could go hit up like a store up there.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm trying to think ahead.
I hear you, man. That's the point. Stay 3
I want to go
moves
exploring
ahead.
in Toronto too when we go.
Yeah, that's the 6th, man. I'm telling you, I can't believe you go on vacation a week before that, job so and so.
Well,
how dare you?
It's our yearly family vacation. We go with another family. That's why we met the goat Remus. No, not the. He wasn't the goat. He was a black sheep.
Yeah, and it was, and you were like, but it was Romulus and Remus and not Uncle Remus, which is what we figured out. You know what I'm saying? That's
what would your initial reaction be?
Oh, sir, I was on it with you as soon as you said that. I was glad you filled in the rest of that to say Romulus and Remus is in the Roman, the brothers who started Rome, as opposed to Uncle Remus, and it was a black sheep. It was a real problem, son. I'm glad you explained the rest of that. But where we at? Yeah, it's about let's wrap up. But I mean, I'm glad to have shared that story with you. I'd actually said how that was going to be on the podcast when on one of the skim drives, and I was like, "You're probably going to hear this again," but at least you got like some time between me saying you was going to hear it and actually hearing it. We do this every week, 345 straight so far. All wet.
Jinx us with this keep,
bruh. As long as we do what we do, and I don't die, and or something don't go real sideways, we got a good vibe going. I guess in reality it is, all y'all should know how to be able to do this, at least get it up on the internet. So you're right, we should do something about that. Thank you for that little bit of that making me think that way. So everybody can be able to do this and should be able to do this.
I thought the plan was just so you could keep alive.
Well,
that's a lot simpler than teaching us.
I'm working on it, but also you knowing it makes it that much much easier.
Cyborg T uploading podcasts in the year 2045.
You know, they do say that, like, they're working on a way to upload our consciousness into
that book I told you about. That's the main point of that whole book. That We Are Legion, We Are Bob. That it's so cool. Like I said, you might want to. I don't know if you want to fuck with that sci-fi like that, but yeah,
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's so fun. But we do it every week, and I like what we do. Mr. Man's Tatum 216. That's Lunchbox 2099. That's the real ODP. I did not introduce him at the beginning. My apologies.
Well, come on, you know our voices by now.
Yeah, I mean, but what if they did? What if they new to the fold? And it happens all the time. New people come all the time. It truly happens all the time.
Okay, well, then some of this stuff didn't make sense to you.
And if you're new to it, I hope you enjoyed it.
Sorry about all the noise in the beginning. It was real crowded in here.
It was popping. And it just goes down like that sometimes.
It was uncomfortably loud. Like I was having a hard time keeping my train of thought.
I was happy. When I thought about it, they was that group over there. But I was like, well, the mic is literally facing right at him. He should be good. So I was okay. I was like, if anything, it's picking up his conversation. Hopefully less of theirs. But go review us. The ability to do that is a link at the bottom of the app that you're listening to this on. Unless you're, I don't know how links work on YouTube, but if you're over there, don't worry about it. Just go and give me a thumbs up and I'll count it. I'll let you get a walk.
We'll assume that's a 5-star review.
I'm just gonna take it as respectful, and that's what's going on out here. We got merch. Again, that link is right there. It's pretty cool merch, and hopefully as we work on the other logos and the like, more merch will come down the pipe. Let's see. I think that's all I'll ask of you this week. Anything else you can say? Holler at us. Give us a phone call. Email us.
Back on Twitter so you can tweet at me.
And he's not back with an aplomb, but he's there if you need him.
I did say I was going to keep it positive, and then I saw...
that post.
I saw an opportunity, and I just couldn't pass it up.
Hey, that had to be taken.
I saw your guys' text messages, and I'm just like, not looking into it. Don't care who it was. Don't want to be involved.
I thought it was funny.
Wise. Nothing wrong with being wise.
You didn't like my funny tweet, but okay.
Okay, fine. I'll allow for that. I didn't like your funny tweet. I am the Internet Stereo 713. You've just been podcasting. I know you loved it. Peace.
I hated it, actually.
Hey, what happened to you? You used to be beautiful.